Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your heaping helping of the lean, mean, wrestle-talking machine that is Wrestling with Egos. However you are consuming us, whether it's on Anchor Podcasts, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on this intergalactic radio thing that Patrick keeps mentioning, I don't know. I don't know how much the subscription is for that, but I'm sure we'll get into that later.
$9.99.
Oh, $9.99. That's it. Just look at the flag flying overhead. And the fact that it's your boy introing things this week is kind of interesting, and it must mean that somebody on our panel felt like he had to pass along the introing duties so that he didn't go on tilt right from Jump Street over the Raw reunion shenanigans, which, trust me, boys and girls, we will get into. But as ever, it is me, Brian, your intellectual savior of the wrestling masses, and I can be reached on Twitter at bcrigo15, and I am joined as ever by my homies in the other panel. We've got Patrick, who is the proper villain, can be reached at Rant Mode On. And then over in the other panel, we have the AEW assassin. Oh, ho, ho, ho. At RJ E-Man with two N's at the end. Welcome back. It's been a crazy wrestling week. Lots of stuff going on, positive and negative and otherwise. We're going to get all into it. I think the first thing we should talk about, gentlemen, is that G1 action going on over in Japan right now. Would you say we're about halfway through it? All things considered, almost halfway through it. And we've got the newly updated point standings, and it looks like your boy so far is kind of prophetic, because a couple weeks ago I predicted that Kenta would be your G1 champion, and he's got 8 points. He's sitting pretty. He's 4-0. So let's dive into it, gentlemen. There's one match in particular that I saw in its entirety, and I'd love to get your thoughts on, and that was the match between Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada. In a word, bonkers.
In a word, damn.
Exactly.
That was one of the other things about the Raw reunion, was being able to hear Ron Simmons with the megaphone going, damn. That might be one of the highlights.
Here's the first question I'll pose to you, gentlemen. Can Kazuchika Okada have a bad match with anybody?
No.
That's what I'm starting to realize here. Is this man, it doesn't matter who he's in the ring with. He just goes.
Kazuchika Okada could get in the ring with any of the three of us schlubs and make us look like world championship contenders. Make us look like we belong in a New Japan ring. He is arguably, well, there's no argument to it. He legitimately is one of the three best wrestlers in the entire world today. And one of the other guys in that conversation is the guy that he just beat in his most recent G1 match, that being Will Ospreay. The other one probably Omega.
Absolutely. Okada Ospreay was for sure the match of the tournament to me so far. Anyway, I had high expectations because they wrestled last year, and it was really good. This match blew that match out of the water. Not in the G1, obviously, because Ospreay wasn't in the G1, but they wrestled for. And I think it was at the anniversary show, actually, last year.
You got to think, Will Ospreay from roughly this time last year to this time now is a completely different wrestler. I mean, he has gotten so much better. One of those evolutions that you've been able to really watch the maturation process of, and it's happened literally over a year. And generally, when that happens with a wrestler, when you're like, okay, a year ago they were pretty good, now holy crap, it usually just continues to be this massive upward ascent that doesn't start the decline until they start the decline. And by that, I mean injury, age, things of that nature, not because they the fans soured on them.
And injury has always been and will probably always be, just based on his style, a consideration with Ospreay. Absolutely. And I just every time he wrestles, I hope that this isn't the one where he gets seriously injured and he can't do his style anymore. Because I think it'll happen eventually to where he'll have some kind of injury to where he has to change his style. And I think he's good enough that he'll be able to, and he'll be able to keep his match quality as high as it is now.
Dude, Jushin Thunder Liger did it after several knee injuries and was still wrestling until he was 50-something.
He still wrestles. He's retiring this year.
He wrestled Tyler Breeze at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn post 50 years old. And that match arguably stole that takeover.
Absolutely, it did.
What injuries is Ospreay dealing with? Like, for the uninitiated like me?
One of his knees got messed up last year, and his neck has been an ongoing problem for a year and a half.
Okay. Gentlemen, when you look at the scoreboard so far, are you surprised at who's in the catbird seats right now, as it were, or is there anybody you're disappointed in? What are your takeaways from this sort of midpoint of the G1 tournament? Patrick, why don't you take that one first?
Because I'm looking at the scoreboard myself on the spare phone. I'm kind of disappointed in the fact that Ospreay only has 2 points. I might be looking at an older scoreboard. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right. He only has 2.
Well, the reason I know I'm looking at an older one is because you said that Zack Sabre Jr. beat Bad Luck Fale, and I'm looking at a scoreboard that has Zack Sabre Jr. with 0 points. So I know I'm looking at something outdated. So if I'm wrong, you guys correct me. But I am kind of disappointed in that because, as we just talked about, how quickly he's risen. He's gone from really good to top 3 globally in the span of 365 days, roughly. I also really don't like the fact that you got him, Ibushi, Kenta, and Okada all in the same block. That sucks. Because you could do a lot more and make it a little bit more high drama than Juice Robinson and Moxley over in B, and they're pretty much the ones they're probably gonna be running that show. Aside from that, that's really the only thing that's kind of bugs me. Another thing I'm really surprised at is the fact that Block B is pretty much being dominated by 2 Americans, which generally does not happen. Especially when Moxley's sitting there with 8 points and Juice is sitting there with 6 points, and then you're looking at Ishii, Yano, Takagi, Naito, Taichi, Goto before you get to Jeff Cobb and Jay White all rounding out the rest of B. But it's a guy that's just got there and a guy that's been there for a couple of years. Both of them have been United States champion, but both are American. And that's a little surprising to me. But like I said, disappointing for me is Ospreay's showing as of late. And also the fact that Lance Archer has more points than Will Ospreay.
Lance Archer has been one of the MVPs of this tournament. Lance Archer's matches have been better than I ever thought he could be.
I totally agree because I've never really thought him to be really good. He's been solid. He's been aight. But yeah, Archer has looked impressive. I think because they've got what, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they've got what, about 5 more matches left?
Everybody's got 5 matches left. Yep.
All right. He has an opportunity to be able to shake that tag team specialist moniker that he's always had in New Japan and really make a case at a singles run with this. And I think it'd be really awesome. mean, what I think
Yeah.
would be awesome, what I think would be awesome, and it may be getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves, but if we're gonna give him a singles run, because he's with Suzuki Gun, right? Is he still with them?
Yeah.
You know, what if he turns on them and goes Bullet Club?
I don't think that'll happen. I think that he's pretty set in the Suzuki Gun stuff. He's pretty right there with Minoru Suzuki. I don't know that he would leave Suzuki Gun. It would be interesting if he did, but I don't know that he would. I don't know that it makes sense for his character.
Is he still doing Killer Elite Squad with Davey Boy?
Oh, Davey Boy left New Japan.
Oh, wait, okay. I haven't
He's
seen.
the MLW champion, and there's been AEW rumors and WWE rumors, but yeah, he left New Japan.
Well, RJ, Brian gave it to me first. What say you as far as surprises and disappointments?
I got some. I'm disappointed. I'm back and forth on Jay White because I'm really disappointed that he only has 2 points right now because he finished with 12 last year, and I was really looking forward to Jay White continuing this coming out party that he's had for the last year and a half, where he's come on the scene and been shown to be one of the best wrestlers in New Japan and the whole world. But I feel like a lot of what's going on with Jay is going to be a story of him getting beat by the Chaos guys at the beginning, starting 0-3, and that's one of the big things. Nobody's ever started 0-3 and made the final. Jay White insists that for the rest of the tournament, he's going to go 6-0, 5-0 now. He did win his last match and finish with 12 points. And I kind of see that happening. Where we're at with Ospreay, I actually kind of saw what's happening with him coming, only because New Japan tends to, I don't want to say devalue because that gives you the wrong idea, but there is much more of a separation between heavyweight and junior heavyweight in Japan than there is other places. A 205 Live guy can show up on Raw. Cedric Alexander can show up on Raw and beat a guy that's on Raw every week, that's a big guy. That's not super the case in New Japan all the time. There is a big time separation between the juniors and the heavyweights. And I think this is supposed to be, look what he can do, but he's not going to win a whole lot of matches. I mean, he'll beat, I was absolutely shocked he lost to Archer. But there's guys that he'll beat. But I actually kind of thought that there was a possibility that he might beat Okada, just because of where the two guys sat at points. As far as a big, huge surprise, I know, Brian, you get a whole lot of credit for kind of calling where it's been coming from because you picked Kenta to win the whole thing. I'm shocked that Kenta is tied for the lead with Okada and Avon. Absolutely fall on the floor shocked. Because he's a Noah guy, and the New Japan fans don't really super seem to be accepting him yet. I mean, he got a cheer when he came out because they were all like, oh, look, it's Kenta. We have Kenta on the roster now. This is exciting and fun. I didn't see New Japan pushing him right away. And the guys that he's beating Ibushi, and I actually kind of feel like he might beat Okada on Saturday. To set up a title match in between the G1 and Wrestle Kingdom. I'm shocked that Kenta is sitting at the top of the block. I'm absolutely shocked. Moxley hasn't been beat since he left WWE, so I kind of thought that this was. And one thing I want to mention, they mentioned on the most recent New Japan show during Moxley's match, they mentioned that Kevin Kelly mentioned on commentary how Red Shoes, the referee, has been giving Moxley a whole lot of leeway in all of his matches, not disqualifying him, letting him be John Moxley. I think that might end up leading to Red Shoes getting fed up and disqualifying Moxley in one of these matches, and that's how he's going to lose. It doesn't seem like they want to beat him, but he can't go undefeated. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. So yeah, I'm super surprised about Kenta. I kind of saw the Ospreay thing coming, and I'm really surprised and disappointed that Jay White has had a poor showing so far.
And Brian, real quick, RJ, you brought up something that I think is really interesting. You talked about the fact that you thought Kenta might beat Okada. Here's a scenario that you just got me thinking about. What if Kenta does in fact beat Okada, but Kenta suffers a little bit of a losing streak toward the end of G1, doesn't make the final? It ends up being Okada winning A block. Okada wins the G1, and then Kenta beats him for the title before Wrestle Kingdom.
That's interesting. It is interesting. That would be a fun way to go. I kind of think that Okada does have a really good chance to win the whole thing, to kind of set up that, because they have been pounding home on commentary that the IWGP Heavyweight Champion hasn't won the tournament in 19 years, and they've just been bringing that up over and over, and it does kind of seem that they're doing that so that we know when Okada wins, it's a big deal. And then he would get to pick his opponent for Wrestle Kingdom, but that would be negated if Kenta beat him for the championship. So I think that's a fantastic idea.
Right. Another thing that you're going with that, as far as they've been pounding the fact that, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion hasn't won in 19 years. They're also looking at what's coming, and they're trying to legitimately make their Heisman case as to who the best wrestler in the entire world is. And we'll get to what's coming a little bit later in the show. Brian, what's your take on your surprises and disappointments?
Well, the surprises, I'm surprised at myself that I picked Kenta. I was applying a purely American booking, if you will, standpoint to this. Is that, our hometown boy, for lack of a better term, has come home, and he's from Japan, and he's never really been in the New Japan promotion before. Here's a chance for the fans to get behind him. And we've already talked about how stacked the A block is. I mean, there's names in that A block. And the fact that he's sitting there with 8, I'm as surprised as anybody. I thought, yeah, okay, I'm going to say this about Kenta, and Kenta's going to come out of, limping into the weekend with like 2 wins and no realistic shot, but he has a realistic shot. So I'm actually pleased with myself that I was plugged in that much that, but there's some other names, like the one that surprises me, and maybe I'm not paying attention as much as I think I am, but I remember when I had my New Japan epiphany a month ago, you guys talked to me about Tetsuya Naito as a name that, some matches that I'd want to check out. And I have, and they've been quite entertaining, and they've been quite stiff, and they've been quite, engaging. I'm surprised that he's sitting down there with as few points as he has. But, everybody can't win every match. So there's going to be some names that are going to have to suffer at the expense of whoever is going to win. Want to circle back really quick and remind everybody that you're watching Wrestling with Egos here on YouTube and listening to us on Anchor Podcasts. You can always get in touch with us at wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. There it goes across the top of the screen right there. You can check out past episodes and extra content at our Google repository. That's bit.ly/withegos. And you can always get in touch with us on Twitter. The Reverend of the Rant over there can be reached at RantModon. Your boy, the intellectual savior of the wrestling masses, can be reached at bcrigo15. And the AEW assassin can be reached at RJ Eman with 2 E's on Twitter. We hope you hit us up.
2
N's. Oh my God, 2 E's. I'm just sitting here talking and talking and talking. Yeah, put as many E's as you want in there.
This hosting thing, it ain't easy, y'all.
No, it's not. You think you got it all in, because I didn't call you the Reverend of the Rant before. That's why I wanted to circle back, because you had asked. That's what you wanted to be called. That's your new moniker, and I just completely forgot.
It's my new moniker that gets added on to
all the other monitors.
You know, your boy The Rock has about 15,000 different names. So,
That's
you know,
fine.
gotta keep stacking. You know, I am the proper villain. I am the straw that stirs the drink. I am the Reverend of the Rant. Uh,
Just put yourself over. You are the one who puts himself over. That's another one that you could do.
I am the harbinger of self promotion. Yes, yes.
So you hear us all talking about rants, and I suppose we should just dispense with it because an event happened on Monday night that when I heard it was happening, I'll be honest with you. I thought to myself, oh dear God, what's going to happen? Because it seems to me like every time Raw thinks or WWE thinks that the ratings need a kick in the pants, they trot out all the people from yesteryear and they take a walk down memory lane and they think, oh, this is what the people want. The people want to see Rikishi. And this is what the people want. The people want to see Kelly Kelly. And the people want to see all these other people. And I have no problem with that. But what I do have a problem with, and I'm just going to get my stuff in right now. Because once you start, I can't stop. I'm going to go hashtag rant mode on this Raw reunion shenanigans. I made a list, okay, of all the people. No, here's a list of all the people you have in your employ right now. You people in Stamford. Yes, I said you people.
What do you mean?
Here's what I mean. You have Ricochet, and I know he had an elbow thing, and I get that. You have Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt, Charlotte Flair, the Usos, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Buddy Murphy, Liv Morgan, the Viking Raiders, Shinsuke, Bayley, Asuka, Ember Moon, all these people. Let them wrestle. Don't bring out 63 guys to ruin whatever inertia and rub that AJ Styles is getting with this incarnation of the club, the OC or whatever they're calling it. Because that was a horrible move. I'm not done ranting it. You just give me my time. Give me my time because this is what drives me nuts about this company. I am unabashedly Mr. WWE, and I get that. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you have all of these people on your employ, and you're trying to. I forgot SummerSlam was August 11th. Here I am thinking it's later on in August. But you have a major Big Four pay-per-view in less than a month that you're trying to advance storylines in and get your fans to invest. And you think the way to do that is to have Kelly Kelly become a Hall of Famer as a 24/7 champion. I'm sorry, that doesn't do it for me. And the only people that seem to get it on Monday night, the only two, this is the only thing I'm going to give WWE a pass on. You had a great match with Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns, where there was real tension there. Anytime those two guys lock up, whether it's on the microphone or in the ring, there's some palpable tension. I don't know how much of it is a work, and I don't know how much of it is a shoot, but I got to believe that needle is being pushed back and forth every time they get together, that there's some real underlying tension there. That was great. I enjoyed that. The other person that gets it, there's two people, Bray Wyatt and Mick Foley, because Mick Foley was the only person that used his status as a legend to give a new guy a rub, because he was out in the ring reminiscing and he said, I believe in Bray Wyatt. I'm going to have him interrupt me. Not only am I going to let him do Sister Abigail, but he's going to use my finishing move on me, because Bray Wyatt is what's happening right now. It's not about Kevin Nash coming down to the ring and staring at you and making you retreat to the back with your tail tucked between your legs. That's not what it's about. And I'm getting sick and tired of it. When you have all that talent that I rattled off and you think the solution is, let's bring back all the old guys. Let's bring back Hulk Hogan for the 9,633rd time to do his tired shtick. Rant mode off.
Nicely done. Real quick, did anybody notice the look that Booker T was giving Hulk Hogan?
Absolutely.
Thinly veiled.
Absolutely. And Mark Henry wouldn't even really look at him.
No.
Those memes are still fresh.
Brian, you mentioned something that that really triggered me on Monday. So I have to follow your lead, and I have to also go hashtag rant mode on.
Yeah, man.
Why are we burying the OC for the sake of 60-year-old guys? Let's not even mention the fact that we took two guys in NWO t-shirts and brought them out to DX's music, had them do the suck it thing at the end. They all acted like they were all part of D-Generation X, including Seth Rollins, and I know that that got a pop, and it's whatever, and you're trying to give him a rub, but that's not the right way to do it. It was trash. That whole segment was garbage. As good as the Bray Wyatt Mick Foley thing was, which was absolutely phenomenal, and I would like to mention that my little 5-year-old princess cried and ran out of the room. Literally tears down her face. Fiend made her cry, which is phenomenal. But as good as that whole segment was, that's how bad that freaking segment with DX was. It was.
Most of the segments were like that.
I just don't get why you. It goes back to making guys look weak when you don't need to make guys look weak. I don't get it. I don't understand why they continuously book people like that. You did it to Cedric Alexander and Roman Reigns a couple weeks ago with that whole thing with the janitor or whatever, and now you're doing it to AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson. The original club, the official club, the only club that matters. But they all matter because the only club that matters apparently is the geriatric freaking club that comes out all the time. Every time we do this nostalgia crap, I want to get excited about it, and I can't because you got guys like Triple H and Shawn Michaels coming to the ring, and I know it's Hunter putting himself over, and oh my God, that segment just made me so angry. The whole rest of the show I could push the whole rest of the show to the side and not even talk about the whole rest of the show and how Kelly won the 24/7 championship, and then that whole bullcrap with the Alundra Blaze and the freaking garbage can, and then she sold the belt to Ted DiBiase, and then there were two title changes we didn't even see. One of them I liked. One of them was okay. In the limo, I actually liked how DiBiase got in with the belt, and then there's no cameraman in there, but there's Maverick and a ref is in there, and then Maverick comes out of the limo with the belt. I actually kind of liked not seeing that one because why the hell would there be a cameraman in the limo? So I get that. But, like, we're putting the 24/7 championship. One of the only things that people talk positively about when it comes to Raw and SmackDown, one of the only things that people can consistently say is entertaining on this show, and we're giving it to Kelly, and we're giving it to Ted DiBiase, and we're giving it to, I think that was Candice Michelle, but I don't really know because she's had so much plastic surgery that I can't tell. And
Patterson and Briscoe. Just
right, and that was the other title change that we didn't see was Briscoe beating Patterson. The camera goes back there and Patterson's on the ground and Briscoe has the championship and yay, I'm the new champion, and I get it. These guys can't really do a whole lot, and you want to I get it, but I mean, God, I guess I'm gonna turn my rant mode off now. But God, that segment was so horrible.
We all worked up today.
Both of y'all bringing the heat tonight, boys. Well, I gotta be honest. I feel like a proud papa. Y'all have made me proud. Y'all have done right by the namesake of the rant mode on. But only one of us has that as their Twitter handle, and only one of us is the reverend of the rant, is the pastor of pissed off. So to quote one line from a Charlie Daniels song, why don't y'all just sit right there in that chair right there and let me show you how it's done. All right. Me. Rant mode on. All right. So you guys bring up some very, very good points. But let's look at it from the fans' perspective, not just booking. Because, yeah, whenever we have one of these stupid ass nostalgia shows, it's all about looking back on how the glory days were so amazing back in 1985 when Hogan slammed Andre and all this other bull crap when nobody gave a flying rat's ass about professional wrestling. Let's talk about the fans. Let's talk about the business itself. Because for 3 hours Monday night, with the exception of that amazing segment with Bray and Foley, which I loved, and that Joe and Roman match, which was off the hook great, let's just say 3 hours. It's 3 hours of the world's most precious commodity that you have thrown away, that you have wasted. Time. Not just my time, not just Brian's, not just RJ's, not just any fan that still consumes WWE product. You've wasted your own time. Brian, throw your watch up again. Time is ticking, boys and girls, because I don't know if anybody in Stanford paying attention, but a certain announcement got made this week. And WWE is now officially running out of time because on October 2nd, they have until October 2nd to right the ship, because they are doing right now the same fucking thing that they did in 1994 when WCW debuted from the Mall of America in Minneapolis, Minnesota for episode number 1 of Monday Nitro. They're just going along with all this stuff and, you know, ho-hum, and we're the only game in town. And they, at this point, are going to get caught with their pants down. And this time, they're the company coming after them that's going to be on TV is smart enough to know this is how wrestling is supposed to look. It's not being run by a guy who was the number 3 announcer for Vern Gagne and AWA. It's being run by 4 guys. One of them is considered the best wrestler in the entire, one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. 2 of them are considered one of the best tag teams in the entire world. And the other one is the son of Dusty fucking Rhodes, who has the same mind as the American Dream himself. And you mean to tell me you're going to waste 3 hours of your own time just to have Paul and Sean and all the boys come out and run over one of the biggest commodities that you've got, one talent-wise, one of the biggest commodities you have right now in AJ Styles? You're just not doing anything. You're wasting our time and yours, because by wasting your time, when your time is up, this is called a remote control. And I'll change the channel. Rant mode off.
Mark
See,
your
boy.
calendars down. All 3 of us went rant mode on in one show.
See, boys, when you're going to do this, you either get angry like y'all did, or you find a very cold way to make a threat. Not of my own, but, you know, it's kind of like Bray Wyatt going, "We're coming." Yeah.
That was very cerebral.
I applaud you both, and thank you. Thank you very much.
And you as well.
All 3, both of you knocked that crap out of the park, and I'm very happy for you. And guys, don't be afraid to swear during your rants. I do know how to censor this show now. So, you know, I got pretty good.
I mean, for example, what's so bad about having, you know, a segment where Alundra Blaze, for example, goes to the back and counsels Bailey about, you know, everything might be coming up roses for you right now, but be careful, you know, because there's sharks in these waters or something like that. You know.
Where was that? But no, every legend either came, you know, every legend that showed up, with the exception of Mick Foley, got over. Every one of them that showed up, they showed up for a pop, except Mick Foley. Why? Because let's go ahead and be honest. Rant mode abridged. This will be a short one. Because Mick Foley is the only one smart enough to know that there's a business beyond them. Everybody else was there just to get their little moment in the sun again. Oh, you remember Sally Field at the Academy Awards. You like me. You really like me. No, Mick Foley's like, yeah, I know you guys like me, but I'm also smart enough to know that this guy needs to whoop my ass. And honestly, I saw that as a kind of a passing of the torch.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping that it leads to Bray's finisher being the mandible claw, because I think that fits his character so well.
Real quick, did you guys notice the gloves? He had the hurt and heal gloves on, covering his face, and then he dropped the one that said heal, and then that was the one that he got Foley with. I was like,
yeah, I love that.
Oh, shoot.
And I don't think people, like, if you get out of your own way for 5 seconds, you could realize that by putting somebody else over, you get yourself over too. Because we're sitting here throwing laurels at Mick Foley for what he did for Bray.
Absolutely.
I would have thought that maybe the OC and DX segment should have been reversed. What if DX comes down just and not all 38 of them, just Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and X-Pac and Road Dogg? What if it's just the 4 of them? Because that's a little bit more believable. They're in the ring, they're getting their stuff in, and all of a sudden, Gallows comes out of the crowd and knocks down Triple H, takes him out. And then Carl Anderson slides in and takes out X-Pac. And then you got AJ, because it's believable that AJ could take out Shawn and Road Dogg at the same time. And now you got the OC standing over DX. It's about the present and the future, not about what you did in 1999. By putting them over, DX puts themselves over, just not as overtly. And I could go on. I mean, it'd take me till 3 a.m. to figure out other scenarios where other guys put themselves over.
RJ, you.
It's real quick, and then you can go. I just wanted to say the best description of Raw Reunion that I've heard actually happened during the Raw Reunion show, live on the air, when Sami Zayn said, it's like watching the Attitude Era through the Face app. That was the best description of that show that I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite parts of it are when people are taking shots at it, because you got the shot of Alicia Fox and Santino, and I forget who else was with her or with them, and then you pan to the right, and there's Drew McIntyre. Legends. And you go walking towards the front for your match. I mean, it's got to drive people like him absolutely bonkers.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That all my momentum is grinding to a halt. I mean, you could argue it was grinding to a halt anyway, because you're hanging out with Shane all the time. But it's just it's all this progress grinding to a halt, and SummerSlam is August 11th.
Right.
It's not later on. It's coming. It's now. It's on our doorstep, and we're gonna do this instead.
Yes, that was an alarm.
Patrick, you have something to say?
Wonder Boy has a flight coming in at midnight, so Mama Bear is getting ready to drive to Cleveland to pick him up. So she was taking a little siesta on the couch. And no, we didn't wake her up. Brian's
Okay.
Here's my thing real quick, and Brian alludes to you talking about putting someone over while getting yourself over. Isn't that what Ric Flair did all throughout the 80s and 90s?
Pretty much.
Ric Flair would get his ass kicked through every damn match, would take an ass whooping from Special Delivery Jones for
Nikita
45.
Koloff.
Yeah, take an ass whooping from anybody. But then he'd find a way to win. But the dude on the other side of the ring looked like a world beater. Hello, the very first homework assignment ever on this show, I made Brian watch the very first Clash of Champions, and he got to watch Flair put Sting over for 45 minutes. Went to a draw, and Sting skyrocketed. Why? Because Flair took an ass whooping.
And for 44 minutes and 30 seconds, I thought Sting actually was going to win.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's going to. I know I've seen the match before, but watching it through these eyes and through this telescope, I'm like, wow, he could have won there. He could have won there. He could have won there. It's not. I mean, it's difficult, but it's worth doing. It's worth seeing beyond yourself. I'm going to come out in my same shirt that I wore in 1987 and get my, it's just, I don't want to think they could be that tone deaf, but apparently they are.
Yeah.
Oh,
And apparently they're just whistling through the graveyard. And
Brian, I know you hate it when I do this, but that's honestly a part of why I don't like it when The Rock comes back, because it's the same thing over and over. It's The Rock has to be funny. The Rock has to get the same catchphrases in, and he puts down everybody he's in the ring with instead of putting anybody over. He does the same thing. I mean, granted, he's the biggest star in Hollywood. He can get away with it more than anybody else can, but same thing.
I understand.
Guys, let's go ahead and change topics before we continue to get pissed off about this one. Brian, what we got next?
Well, after a week hiatus due to our well-received Montreal Screwjob show, which, by the way, gentlemen, that was a treat. That was an honor talking about and dissecting that with you guys. I personally have gotten a lot of feedback from my folks through word of mouth that they enjoyed that show, and hopefully it will not be the last time we do something like that. We got to think of some other things that we can put under the microscope, as it were.
I think we might want to. Maybe the first week of September. Let's get SummerSlam out of the way. Let's get the fallout of SummerSlam out of the way, and maybe do one right before, like the week before I leave for Vegas.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll have to think of a juicy topic.
Oh, there's plenty. So I mean, yeah.
So homework is making a return, a triumphant return, and everybody's like, "Oh, great, homework! Yay! Ooh, homework, oh my God, it's so great! It's great."
Homework on Friday.
Well, yeah. You'll be happy to know that it's SummerSlam themed, since SummerSlam is nigh. And it's actually
no. We're not getting Hogan and Beefcake versus Zeus and Macho Man, are we?
Hold on a second. You were, but now I got to think of something else to hold on. Okay.
Are you freaking kidding me?
No, yeah, I would have to reach deep into the dregs of the barrel to come up with that one. I'm
SummerSlam. I'm thinking, okay, crappy match from SummerSlam. Oh.
I haven't given out a crappy match yet, I don't think. I'm your benevolent intellectual savior of the masses, unlike some other folks.
I've only given you one or two really just dumpster fire matches.
You really haven't. I'm saving that. I'm saving the dumpster fires for when you guys are least expecting it. You're like, really? You're giving us that? Really? You're giving us the Judy Bagwell in a pole match from? No, just kidding. No, that is not your match either. I'm taking you back to SummerSlam 2008.
All right. And here's the point where RJ and I now try and figure it out.
Yeah,
2000
I'm doing it in my head.
2008.
The only hint I'm giving you is that no titles are on the line in this match. It's a match.
2008.
But man, what a match.
Is it a ladder match?
It is not a ladder match.
Okay, so it's not Guerrero and Mysterio for the custody of Dominic, which was still a good match.
Yes, it was.
2008. So okay, so it's not. So that's way too late for it to be Sean and Hunter in the unsanctioned match.
Correct.
RJ, you got anything?
No. Once he said no titles, I don't know.
All right, hit it.
And I double checked this to make sure there were no titles aligned, because with these two gentlemen, you think they would have been, but there wasn't. The belts were defended earlier in the evening. But this match was a Hell in a Cell match between Edge and The Undertaker. And I love this match.
Oh, I forgot about
This is this the one where he choke slams him through the ring?
You betcha.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I need a SummerSlam match for homework. Let's come up with a good one. And I'm cycling through all of them. And the last, I had a fleeting thought to do Lesnar Orton from 2016, I think that was, where he busted him open, but that would just make us angry. And you'd be like, why did you give me that match? What's wrong with you? You're off the show. And so I didn't do that. But then I'm cycling through and I'm like, oh, this was a barn burner, as I recall. Because there were so many spots in this match and they told such a great story, and all of the emotion wrapped up in this match, because their rivalry had been going for, I think, a year plus at this point.
Yeah.
Because Vicky's involved and all that kind of stuff. And so this is one that you can just put on and enjoy and, go, ew, I can't believe you did that. But, so that is your homework for this week. Looking forward to getting your unbridled reactions to it when next week we meet.
I'm excited to watch that match.
I am very much looking forward to that. Hey, just out of curiosity, RJ, if you were to give a SummerSlam match for homework this week, what would it have been? Just off the top of your head.
Punk and Cena.
Who?
Punk and Cena.
Hulk and Cena wrestle?
What?
Was that SummerSlam? Yes, that was. Triple H was the special guest referee. 2011. 2011. Because it was Punk and Cena and Triple H, like, we need to, I don't trust anybody else to do this. I'm going to referee it. And that was a great match until Kevin Nash came out.
Everything's good until Kevin Nash comes out.
Yeah. And then Del Rio cashed in on Punk afterwards.
I thought he said Hulk and Cena. I'm like, what?
Yeah, WWE 2K17. I set that up on my video game console.
Yeah. If I had to go with one, I would probably say Cena, Daniel Bryan.
That's a good one. Absolutely.
I enjoyed that one very much. Yeah.
Impassioned Daniel Bryan promos that he cut on John Cena in the weeks leading up to that.
Yeah. He's very as Daniel Bryan is so good in the ring that sometimes people forget how good he is on the microphone.
Right.
And he's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think Daniel Bryan has an argument for being one of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely does.
Because he can cut you down in a multitude of ways.
Yeah. He can be a face and cut a great face promo. He can be a heel in so many different ways. He can just, through his style and his ability to kick really freaking hard, he can just be a violent heel, or he can go this route like he's been right now, where it's, I'm a vegan, I'm earth conscious, and just be just irritating as hell.
Quick side note about Daniel Bryan. Do you think it's true what we're hearing about he might show up on 205 Live and work there for a while?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I have no problem with that if it happens, but I've been hearing the scuttlebutt that he's been teasing a big announcement for weeks on SmackDown, and it just hasn't happened because somebody is too busy putting himself over, I think is what's happening. But what I've been hearing on rumors, yeah, is that Daniel Bryan wants to go to 205 Live and work with some guys down there, which I think would be appointment television.
Can I make a request? Can I please see Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak, like post haste?
Like 7 matches.
Best of 7 series, yes.
Best of 7 series in 1 episode of 205 Live. And go. A special 4-hour 205 Live spectacular.
Another quick side note: have either one of you guys watched NXT from this week yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, spoiler, sorry, because it's the North American title match for TakeOver Toronto. The Dream is defending against Roderick Strong and
Pete Dunne.
Pete freaking Dunne.
And I'm excited for that 2 out of 3 falls match between Gargano and Adam Cole, baby, because of the little wrinkle that William Regal put in there. And William Regal, dude, just keeps coming up with interesting stuff because he lets Gargano do a stipulation, he lets Cole pick a stipulation, and then William Regal's like, and if it goes to a 3rd fall, I'm doing the stipulation. And I'm like, whoa.
Well,
Such a good idea.
Gargano and Cole announced theirs on Wednesday on NXT. Cole has just chosen a straight up singles match, 1-on-1. Gargano chose something that he's gotten as he says, I've gotten very comfortable with as of late. A street fight.
And I'm realizing too, our SummerSlam preview show is going to be coming up soon, and SummerSlam's turning into a sneaky good card.
Yeah, it is.
And this is another thing that just frustrates me about these people in Stamford, Connecticut. They keep just falling into these cards because as it stands right now, you're going to have Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. You're going to have Charlotte versus Trish Stratus. Yes, please. You're going to have Bayley versus Ember Moon for the championship, and you're going to have Seth versus Brock, which be that as it may. AJ Styles is going to get a match in there somewhere. And then the one I'm really excited about, and I know they're telegraphing it because of the Instagram video, but I'm going to be a huge Kevin Owens mark on Sunday, August 11th. Please, Kevin Owens.
Oh,
please. Yeah. Please. So it's turning into a sneaky good card, but we'll get into that down the road a piece.
But real quick, aren't usually the best SummerSlams the ones that are that sneaky good card where it just kind of creeps up on you, then you realize, oh crap, this is going to be good. I mean, Brian, we're watching the SummerSlam with Cena and Daniel Bryan at your house, and we're like, wait a minute, because that also had Nakamura and Jinder Mahal for the WWE title.
Did it?
No.
That's too early for Nakamura.
Yeah, that is too early for Nakamura. Never mind.
I don't have the cards in front of me, but I mean, you're right though. SummerSlams have been sneaky good the last couple of years, and it's kind of concocting this card out of thin air, and it's like, oh, okay, you actually can put together a good. Oh, and I almost forgot about Natty and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. That should be good too.
As crappy as their story building has been, and their complete lack of long-term anything, with the amount of talent on their roster, it is really hard to not fall into really good cards sometimes.
Yeah.
They just have and that's what we all scream from the mountaintops is you have so much talent. What the hell are you doing? And it's really hard for them to not accidentally make a good card every once in a while. And I think, and I'm super excited. It's got to be the Demon, right? Like, how is it not? It has to be the Demon.
I don't think it will be.
It has to be. How can it not be?
Brian, may I?
You may.
One word, RJ, escalation. And here's why. If the Fiend beats the Demon and then Finn goes away for a couple of months to recharge and probably get married and whatever else, then what do you do with Finn when he comes back? You got to give Finn an out. The Fiend is going to beat Finn Balor, not the Demon. So, I mean, the only thing that I think would come of Bray as the Fiend beating the Demon would be when Finn returns, a heel turn, and joining the OC. Am I the only person in the world that does not have a problem with that name? Because I keep reading on Twitter, everybody's pissing on the name the OC. I'm like,
because they're making Misha Barton jokes and stuff like that, and
I saw a video today that somebody put together. Somebody edited it up of the intro theme from the OC TV show, and it had starring AJ Styles and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I actually love it. Like, people just need to
embrace it. Like you could have come up with anything better.
You can't call them the fucking Bullet Club. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Like,
right.
And anything you try to do that's like the club is so hokey and lame. Like, because it's stupid. You have to come up with something that's even semi original. And
you didn't.
Maybe I wouldn't like it as much if AJ wasn't really selling the original club, the official club, the only club that matters. I like that. If it's just the OC, I'm not a huge fan. But
right.
when you say the way what they've been saying, the original club, the official club, the only club, I love that. I think that's phenomenal. And no pun intended on the phenomenal.
That's why I'm actually popping for it, because I'm just like, that's freaking awesome. And the T-shirt is badass.
I will own that shirt for sure.
My God, that T-shirt might be one of the most gangster shirts WWE's put out in a long time.
Absolutely.
That thing is killer.
So,
what we
gentlemen,
got next?
if you don't mind, we're going to segue into our final segment of the evening. And, sir, I would like one more round for my boys over here, if you don't mind. Our bar talk for this evening came up with it at the 11th hour. Because there's been an advent of just jamming a lot of stipulations, in our pie holes lately. And I'm kind of upset about that too. And quite honestly, it's devalued some of these stipulations that you used to only see as blow-offs of major feuds. So what I'm proposing to you this evening is we are going to talk some stipulations. And for the uninitiated, a stipulation is a special condition that you put on a wrestling match. It's not just your typical one fall to a finished match. There's some special circumstances involved. I would like to hear some stipulations that y'all can't get enough of. Like, anytime you see this kind of match, like, good, I'm there. I don't care who's in it. I want to see this match. And then I also want to hear some stipulations that you think are played out. So, RJ, I'm going to give the floor to you first on this one. Let's start off with, we'll start negative on this one because I feel like we should end on a positive note today. So let's start negative. Give me a stipulation that you think is played out and tell me why you feel that way.
I don't have a whole lot negative to say about many stipulations. I'm a stipulation guy. I love stipulation matches. It's a thing that I'm into. It's real hard for me to come up with stipulation matches that I don't like. But I don't know if it's so much of a stipulation as it is a match type. I can't stand the triple threat tag team matches with two legal guys. Where you can tag anybody, and I hate it. I hate that so much. It's stupid. There's so many times that it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I just think that one I can't stand. That's really the only thing that I could really negatively come up with, other than WWE using stipulations to go to commercials, but that doesn't count. The actual match types, the triple threat tags, I can't stand. Other than that, I'm a stipulation guy.
I'm probably going to be really unpopular by saying this one. Hell in the Cell. I'm done with it. And here's why. Here was the cell. Now here's the cell. You know damn good and well, very, very rarely is somebody climbing up that bastard. Unless your name's Shane McMahon. They might get halfway up and then they do a table spot. Making the Mick Foley proofing the cage has made it boring. Since they made the cage higher, there's only been 2 Hell in the Cell matches that did not bore me to tears. And that would be number 1, Undertaker and Shane. And number 2, Usos and New Day.
I was there.
I hate you. That was a poetry of violence. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But again, all the mystique of Hell in the Cell, because, Hell in the Cell, when Taker and Shawn did it, Taker and Foley did it, Foley and Triple H and Jericho, when they all did this, the structure was a third party in the match because the structure could mess somebody up because of whatever reasons. And you also had, hey, we can get on top of this thing now and blah, 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 blah. Now we don't do that.
Look what it did to Tim White.
You've taken that over. Yeah, Timmy White lost his career out of that match, guys. But it's lost its mojo. So I'm done with them. I find the whole concept of Hell in the Cell now completely and utterly boring, unless you give me a whole crap load of weapons or 2 guys that are probably gonna, cannonball off the top of the damn thing. Brian, how about you, man? What's something? It's kind of like going back to the old audibly offensive radio days. What's a stipulation that you're done with?
I'm going to start with this one. I've got a couple that I'm done with. 1 obvious, 2 not so obvious. The first one that I'm kind of done with is Last Man Standing.
Oh yeah.
Because back in the day when you had a Last Man Standing match, they were brutal. The one in particular that I keep coming into mind when I think of a Last Man Standing match is the one that John Cena and Umaga had at Royal Rumble in 2007, where Cena was handcuffed. I can't remember. Cena was handcuffed during that one, but somehow he got free, and then he took the ring apart, as I recall, and choked Umaga out with the turnbuckle and all the whole apparatus and whatever.
Yeah, choking the STF.
Right. And staggered back over to the part of the ring that was still standing, and Umaga just kind of laid there in a pool of his own blood and didn't get up and answer the 10 count. That's probably the last one I saw that I thought, oh my goodness, these people have been through, But now it's predictable. I mean, if you have a Last Man Standing match, the first count's going to go to 6 or 7, and the guy's going to stagger back in the ring, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of 8s and 9s, and you can just call the shots no matter who's involved in it. So for me, that's my first one, just because people don't really know when to apply one, when to have one, and they don't really know how to pull one off and make it compelling. That'd be my first one that's played out. And I have another one that I'll get into unless somebody has another one.
I do have one thing. It's not really a stipulation, but one thing that I am done with is stipulations for the sake of naming a pay-per-view. It really is super old to me that we're having Hell in a Cell matches and Elimination Chamber matches and all these matches at Extreme Rules for no freaking reason other than the fact that that's the name of the pay-per-view. Like Hell in a Cell, to Patrick's point, like Hell in a Cell used to mean something. Like it used to be Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell match is a perfect example of Hell in a Cell match meaning something. Having a Hell in a Cell match because you need a Hell in a Cell match, not because the next show is named Hell in a Cell, so we have to have one. That's so old and played out, and I hate it. And as far as that goes, I hate stipulations for the sake of a stipulation.
I will say one thing real quick. I still love the Elimination Chamber.
I do too.
Oh, me too. But I get what RJ is saying. That's one of the reasons that the mystique of the Hell in a Cell match is pretty much gone, because every October you can count on having it.
Right.
Or end of September, whenever they decide to do it.
Yeah, it's usually October. Here's one, and this has been the case with this match since probably as long as any of us have been watching wrestling. But even as a kid, I thought this match was downright stupid. Lumberjack match. Lumberjack matches are effing ridiculous. They're just, they never serve a point because, okay, all these guys are around the ring. Somebody gets thrown out, the good guy, the good guy gets thrown out to the bad guys. The bad guys beat the crap out of him and throw him back in. Then the bad guy gets thrown out to the good guys, and that all happens. Next thing you know, everybody around the ring is now fighting each other. And then interference, bad guy wins. 1, 2, 3. It happens all the flipping time. I hate lumberjack matches. Always have, always will.
And as I recall, it didn't used to be like that, because when I would see lumberjack matches in the 80s and 90s, they'd get there, they'd take some shots, but they'd put them back in the ring. There's going to be a result in the ring, and it's not going to devolve into chaos outside.
They always did. Dude, any lumberjack match from like the old Mid-South Jim Crockett Promotions days, always just devolved into chaos, man. Every last one of them, because you'd have the Horsemen, because it would always be Flair in the ring, so the Horsemen and other people would be out there doing their thing, and then Sting or Dusty or Luger would get pissed off at the Horsemen, and they'd start jawing at each other. It was usually either Luger or Dusty jawing at Ole. And then somebody said something bad about somebody's mama, and then they were scrapping.
So another one that I have a problem with, and it's only because for the last, I would say, 15 plus years, because of circumstances, they can't really do what the name of this match is. I have a problem with hardcore matches now.
Me too.
Because all three of us know that what we are seeing when you call it a hardcore match is not hardcore. We're not going to...
I'll be right back.
Yeah, we're not going to be raking, thumbtacks across people's noses, and we're not going to be, throwing people through plate glass windows. And I'm not saying that you should do that, but there's ways to do it to make it look effective. But now a hardcore match is there's a steel chair or two, and there's a kendo stick or two, and the kendo sticks are obviously not the kendo sticks that I remember. And it's just another, no DQ match, basically. So just call it that. The one that I always remember that I loved was the Hardcore Championship match at WrestleMania X7 at the Astrodome, where it was Big Show. It was a triple threat match. It was Big Show and Test and somebody else, and people kept trying to get involved. Crash Holly was in his usual, but they wound up backstage where like the golf cart got like stuck in the fence. Kane was the other one. I'm sorry. And as I recall, it was Kane that got thrown through a plate glass window back there that they had rigged up or something like that. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, they threw him through a window. And Big Show wound up winning. I was like, my God, who's going to take the hardcore championship off of him? That was, now a hardcore match to me is just, it's like, okay, fine, great. We're going to have a hardcore match. Whoop-de-doo. It's just not, because again, you don't know how to sell it.
What's the difference between a hardcore match and a street fight? And
there isn't one.
What's the difference between a hardcore match, a street fight, and a no holds barred match, 3, and a non-sanctioned match? What's the difference?
Well, I know what the difference is. You said a hardcore match, that's 1 word. You said no disqualification is 2 words. Street fight is already 2 words. And then a non-sanctioned match actually has a hyphen in there. So, and you need to change the batteries in your remote because I'm still talking. And y'all can't change the channel on me, boy.
Hello, customer service. My remote's broken. Help me out.
Actually, AEW actually did something to make their non-sanctioned match, something that used to be done back in the day that hasn't been done in a long time, to make their non-sanctioned match feel different than just a other hardcore match. When Joey Janela and Jon Moxley main evented Fyter Fest, and they turned all the Justin Roberts said, this is the end of the show. The lights are going to get turned off. When they come back on, nothing that happens after that is sanctioned by All Elite Wrestling. It's just going to be the 2 guys. The actual Fyter Fest show is over once the lights go out. And then when they come back on, it will be a non-sanctioned match between Joey Janela and Jon Moxley. And then the lights went off, and then the lights came back on, and then they did the entrances in the match. And it just makes it a little different than just a regular, this is a non-sanctioned match, but there's really nothing different than a no disqualification. It made it feel different.
That's cool. That is cool. I still haven't finished watching Fyter Fest. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move into stipulations that we wish we would get more of. Brian, you got anything?
Well, maybe I don't wish I would get more of this because then they become watered down and played out too. But I love me a good old-fashioned ladder match. Especially with the right people involved. I mean, not anyone can do a ladder match. For example, you would not ask your boy to have a ladder match because it would just be. You
would not ask Braun Strowman to do a ladder match.
Right. But, the ones that come to mind, like the one that Jericho and Benoit had at Royal Rumble 2001 was intense as all get out. The one that Jeff Hardy had with The Undertaker on Raw in 2002, I think. Climb the Ladder, Kid. Make yourself famous. I mean, these are ones. And then any of the ones that, the Hardys have been involved in where it's Jeff doing swantons off the ladder or Hardy doing Twist of Fate off the ladder, that sort of thing. Edge spearing Jeff Hardy, WrestleMania 17. Edge
and Eddie Guerrero on Monday Night Raw for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah. You got to have the right people involved because, like we say, not everybody can pull one off. But with the right stipulations, you got the title hanging, above the ring. I like a good ladder match. I love the Money in the Bank matches. It's, that's some good stuff for me. RJ, what say you? What's one that you're very high on?
Well, I have to mention ladder matches are my absolute favorite kind of wrestling matches. For me, I love ladder matches so much. It could be Yokozuna and Mark Henry, and I'm here for it. I don't care. I love ladder matches.
5-star classic.
No. I am no. If you give me something so ridiculous as 2 behemoths in a ladder match, that is must see because that's either going to be amazing or it's going to be a car crash. And I'm here for that either way. So I'm with you on that.
It's my absolute favorite. If every match was a ladder match, I would be happy. I would never get sick of it. It would never be played out to me. Ladder matches are my shit. I love it. Anyway, gauntlet matches. I love gauntlet matches. There are not enough gauntlet matches. I think gauntlet matches are freaking amazing. And if you do it right, you put guys over like Seth Rollins,
like Kofi, like the New Day.
Right, exactly. It's if you do them right, gauntlet matches can be freaking star makers. And I don't think anybody in wrestling, any company, any indie, I don't think wrestling as a whole does gauntlet matches enough.
No, because with those, you could tell, you could just use it to get someone over like they did with Rollins, or you could use it as a way to tell an amazing story like they did when Vince put Woods and E in there in a tag team gauntlet match. Then the Usos come out and forfeit.
I love that. Oh my God, I love that so much. It's and there's so many different ways that you can tell stories in gauntlet matches. It's just it's so open. There's just so much creative that you can stick into a gauntlet match. It's just I love them. I love them.
Drama. You can get a heel over in one of those. You can, you can have a face who just has the odds stacked against them and literally snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. There are so many things you can do, and I'm with you. Ladder matches are my favorite. Gauntlet matches could tell such an amazing story, but we don't use them enough. My turn.
Absolutely.
Si, senor.
Well, as I just echoed RJ's sentiments, ladder matches at the very top for me. I love a ladder match. Always have, always will. And there are two other things I want to just throw out there. That way we don't have to just keep doing the circle. Number one, I miss, and I wish we could do more of, strap match, Texas bull rope match, Russian chain match, whatever you want to do. But the match where they're tethered together and got to hit all four.
Hey, Patrick.
Yo.
Your Alabama is showing.
Hey, my NWA is showing. No, I loved those matches as a kid. They were so awesome. It was just so cool because it was like tug of war meets wrestling, and it was cool. But number one, and even though they've changed it and WWE does it differently, I have two words for you that is like my wrestling nirvana. War games. And Brian knows, I love war games. If we had the opportunity, I would make you guys watch every effing war games for a homework assignment for 1 week. It is, my God in heaven, they're people get their butts kicked in them, and they tell a great story, and it is a blow off. It's the culmination of a feud, and a lot of times you'll roll right into another one with them. But there's just something about them that have always just, for me, hey, like watching NXT a couple of years ago when it was the Undisputed Era and the Authors of Pain and whoever else was in there. I can't remember it's Sanity. And they're all beating the piss out of each other. And then Regal comes out, stop. I'm not going to have you do this, blah, 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 blah. If you want to settle it, you'll settle it at TakeOver, where it's going to be war games. I lost my crap.
And so did all 9 of those guys.
Yeah.
Or 12 of those guys or whatever. They lost their crap too.
Because they're just like, what? And I'm just literally going nuts. Because, oh my God, we're doing war games. Like, it's freaking Christmas all over again. I don't care that WWE's taking the top off the cage, because truth be told, that made it a little bit more fun. because they've added the element of if you escape the cage, you lose it for your team. Your team's automatically disqualified. But it gives some of those smaller guys in NXT the opportunity to use the cage to their advantage, like we saw Ricochet do last year with the double moonsault. No, I didn't have a problem with that. You also wouldn't have been able to do the spot because the cage wasn't really that high. I mean, remember, Sid Vicious powerbombed Brian Pillman's face into the top of it before he powerbombed him straight on his head. But
yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Go back and watch it. It sucks. It is one of those moments where you go, damn it, that had to hurt. But where the War Raiders threw Ricochet across the cage, across the ring, and pretty much went bowling for dollars on the Undisputed Era. Holy crap, that was amazing. And you wouldn't have done it with that cage being 8 feet off the mat, because Ricochet got some hang time on that one. So give me all the War Games. If Survivor Series weekend for TakeOver, put all the damn matches in War Games. I mean, hell yes, I love it.
That would be awesome.
Oh my God, yes. War Games is my favorite thing ever in wrestling. I love War Games more than I love Sting.
Huh. Wow.
I'm not kidding.
Hashtag high praise.
Oh my God. War Games is my shit.
Let me see how well you two pay attention to things. There's one more stipulation I haven't mentioned yet that is involved in 3 of my favorite matches of all time. I love this stipulation.
2 out of 3 falls.
That's
Nope.
what I was going to do.
No, because 2 out of 3 falls matches are one that I have that's played out because it's been saturated so much with commercial breaks.
Iron Man.
Yes. I keep coming back to the one that Triple H and Rock had at Judgment Day in 2000. That one's my jam. And I know it shocks everybody because The Rock actually lost. That was the debut of the American Badass Undertaker character. The one that Brett and Shawn had at WrestleMania 12 was fantastic. The one that Sasha Banks and Bayley had at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn in 2016 or 2015.
No, the Iron Woman match was in Full Sail. It was TakeOver Respect.
Sorry, my bad. TakeOver Respect was fantastic. And it kind of goes back to what I'm saying about a ladder match. In an Iron Man match, and Pat Patterson's famous for saying that you have to have the right people.
Yeah.
Because whether you're going to go 30 minutes or you're going to go 60 minutes, not everybody can do that because not everybody has the stamina to do that. Not everybody has the storytelling chops to do that. And that's why I like Iron Man matches so much, because they reveal your character. They reveal your wrestling acumen. And every Iron match that I've seen, whether it's, Brett and Shawn, whether it's Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar on SmackDown, I forget what year it was. That was a phenomenal one too. Bayley and Sasha, Rock and Triple H, there's not a clunker in the bunch. And so that's why I know you can't do them all the time. And I think that's why I love them so much, because you don't see them a lot. But I'm sure we could come up with some people right now that could put on fantastic Iron Man matches. I'd love to see Ricochet and Finn in an Iron Man match.
How about Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano?
How about Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa triple threat Iron Man match? Ooh.
That's one thing that we have never done with an Iron Man match is do a triple threat. That could be fun.
That could be there's some gameplay involved in that one.
Yes.
You get a fall, and now you got 2 guys chasing after you trying to get a fall. So,
man, how have we never seen that before? That's such a good idea. How has nobody done that?
Book it, Vince.
No, it'll never happen. You know why? Vince would never understand that concept. Well, how the hell are we gonna do that? We can't have that.
Okay,
yeah,
fine. Book it, Cody.
yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Cody.
that would happen.
Cody, call us. We got an idea. We don't want massive royalties. We just want to be able to come to AEW shows and maybe some AEW merch.
Yes, and because the AEW assassin over there has the market corner and all this merch, and apparently we are not allowed to have any of it. So that's just a few things here and there.
All we're asking for is some AEW merch, some tickets for All Out. Not gonna lie, we'll drive. We'll carpool there and plug us every once in a while.
And maybe it's unlimited nachos. Maybe I just all the nachos we want.
Yeah. Maybe some new audio video equipment. That way we can all be in the same room at the same time doing this crap.
That would be okay.
That'd be swell.
Yeah,
So,
we'd stick Brian right in the middle, and that way he'd be surrounded by the two assholes. Yeah, proper villain.
well, as always, we want to thank everybody out there in Wrestling with Egos Land for consuming our product this week. As ever, you can reach us on Twitter at RJEman with 2 N's for the AEW assassin over there. Your boy can be reached at bkrigo15 and the proper villain and the Reverend of the Rant and putting himself over. And I forgot all the other nicknames, so forgive me. Can be reached.
Straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah. He's at Rant Mode On. You can email the show at wrestlingwithegos@gmail.com. And our Google content repository can be located at bit.ly/withegos. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I will toss it over to the Reverend of the Rant to get us up on out of here.
Well, cool. Well, we definitely need to get out of here because the kid who's sleeping on the couch tonight just farted, and it's going to get really rank here in about 15 seconds. I really hope that ended up being picked up on the mic because that's going to be awesome.
Do you smell what she is cooking?
Actually, it's what I cooked. No. Mama cooked it. Mama cooked dinner tonight. So she's not here. She's already left to go pick up the Wonder Boy. But for my colleagues, as always, my good friend RJ and my good friend Brian, my name is Patrick. This has been Wrestling with Egos, and as always, that's our story, and we're sticking to it.